Tonight on the Black Channel. Well, if you thought parking in New York City was hard to find before now, it's about to get a lot harder. The Black Channel is live. Unapologetic, unadulterated, and absolutely uncompromising. Greetings, brothers and sisters from around the world, and welcome back to the home, the haven, the stronghold, and the everlasting superfortress of intelligent black thought. We are the Black Media. This is the Black Channel. I am the Black Authority. And you are listening live to the only historically black college and university of higher education and learning in the cosmos. Of course, you are welcome to join us. And join us you shall, because of tonight's program here, I feel like it is incumbent upon me to go ahead and make sure everybody has a little bit of a refresher on how things are working, or more to the point, how things are not working. To be totally honest right here, the migrant situation, you need to have a reminder about that for a reason. They're spending our reparations budget in New York City. After telling us they didn't have it, after telling us they don't have it, and after telling us there's no money, they're spending our reparations budget in New York City. And I just thought you'd like to know some of the folks that they're splurging on up there. I found it to be rather interesting. There's this story in particular here. Now, for those of you, if you've never been on the Brooklyn Queens Expressway, I've been on it many times. A white knuckle experience, to be certain. And then you find out that this is going on and your commute is never going to be the same.
Asylum seekers in Brooklyn are trying to adjust to fast-moving developments from City Hall.
This comes days after city workers dismantled an encampment under the BQE in Clinton Hill. CBS 2's Hannah Klieger talked with migrants about what they're up against.
This used to be a series of tents and sleeping arrangements under the busy overpass. Now it's back to being a parking lot. Few things remain, including blankets and shoes. Police came and discarded all of our belongings. They threw everything in the trash, says Daniel, an asylum seeker from Venezuela who was living here. His belongings were among those thrown out by the city's sanitation workers on Friday.
We are not going to have tents and encampments on our streets.
Mayor Adams says he ordered the cleanup and was among the outreach teams on site on Friday to provide people with an alternative place to stay.
I went there personally to speak with those men who were there. We were able to get them back inside the shelter system.
Back out here a few days later, some of those asylum seekers are staying in the shelters, but some are still choosing to sleep outside near this park, which has benches and a bathroom. Danielle wanted to remain anonymous to protect his identity, but in Spanish, he told us of the conditions he and others faced in the shelter. There was only one bathroom for almost 140 people, and the staff was very rude. There were many problems there.
Nigga, what? You're not even supposed to be in. You're trespassing. You have illegally broken into another country. And he is here to let you all know, by the way, there's not enough service. Now that I've broken into your country illegally, there are not enough services here. And there's too many people trying to use the bathroom. And the folks, they're not very kind to me for breaking and entering into your country. They're not very polite. They were very rude. You know, you always hear about that work ethic. You know, the white supremacist males who can sit up here and employ these folks illegally, who they should be doing long prison sentences, by the way. They're always telling you about that work ethic. The only work ethic we've seen is a work ethic to run. Then they get here. By the way, there's only one bathroom, and the folks at the front desk are not very polite to us. Man, are you kidding me? Where the hell did you, somebody in the chat room said that's what we know him for in Brooklyn. Where the hell did he think he was coming to? Mayberry? Pleasantville? Smallville? Where the hell did you think you were coming? Welcome to New York. Be glad that all they did was tell you sit your ass down. There's blocks in New York where you get an ass whooping. I thought they were going to come pat us on the hand. You grabbed the wrong New York. You've been watching too many damn movies. You've been watching too many damn movies. I've been to New York City, you understand? Yeah, don't impose. He went to New York City looking for hospitality, people. Think about this for a few moments. He came to New York City looking for hospitality. Not Mississippi, because you know the hospitality there. Not Kentucky. Not Kansas. Not Nebraska. Not Utah. He came to Brooklyn. I'm looking for a hospitable place to let me kick my feet up and pamper me. Let me go to Brooklyn. He's even got a big ass cap on his head. Let me go to Brooklyn to get pampered by the locals. They were not polite to me. Nigga, you in Brooklyn. What DMX say? Leave you all bloody, nigga. Service with a smile. He didn't get the memo.
He says, the mayor says for almost 140. There was only one bathroom for almost 140 people, and the staff was very rude. There were many problems there, he says. The mayor says the city has reached its capacity, despite an average of 300 to 500 migrants still arriving each day. Last week, his office said it will begin providing a 60-day notice to adult asylum seekers to find alternative housing to create space for arriving families with children.
Damn! Did you all just hear that? He said they getting 60 days to get themselves together. Damn! Y'all got 60 days to work this out, and then you got to go so we can swap you out for somebody else. So much for New York being a tough place to get evicted in. So much for that. Yeah, buddy, what they say, the eviction laws don't cover you. You got 60 days. You got just enough time to get comfortable there. They said 60 days. What? Yeah, buddy, what they say, you better come here with a plan. I got a better idea. Don't come at all. Go fix your home country. How you gonna have pride in your home country and your home country is not worth fighting and dying for? I got respect for the Venezuelans who are still there on the ground. I don't have respect for the cowards who run. If your country is worth anything, then you should be sitting there fighting and dying for it. If that ground is worth anything. There are Venezuelans for whom that ground is worth something, and that ground is valuable to them. I don't have respect for the cowards who've run and abandoned their homeland. If you abandoned your homeland there, I know damn well you ain't gonna stand by us. There's no reason for us to have any loyalty to you. You don't even have loyalty to your own people. You don't even have loyalty to your own soil. You don't even have loyalty to the soil that birthed you. You are bastards of the dirt. How the hell we gonna sit up here and defend you? You're just traitors waiting to happen. Hell, you ain't even traitors, you're just self-serving. You don't have any allegiance to anything. Why the hell should we have allegiance to you? You don't even have allegiance to your own father's and grandfather's blood in the soil. No, these bastards of the dirt don't belong here. They belong back where they came from, or see if they can start learning how to swim perpetually. Maybe they'll turn to fish.
Providing a 60-day notice to adult asylum seekers to find alternative housing to create space for arriving families with children. Theodore Moore from the New York Immigration Coalition says the policy will create more people with nowhere to go.
Is going to lead to more people sleeping on the streets.
there you go. There it is, y'all. Okay, you want to guess the background on this one? Anyone want to bet or wager about the background on this one? Any wagers, any questions? Anybody want to bet on his background? I imagine. All right.
Lead to more people sleeping on the streets, and then just days later start breaking up those very encampments that its policy is going to cause.
I told everyone last year, this migrant crisis is going to come to a neighborhood near you.
You bringing it to a neighborhood near them. What the hell he talking? The crisis is coming to a neighborhood near you. Meanwhile, he done parked the bus outside y'all's house. Remember I said it was coming? Well, that's my campaign promise. Y'all, don't you know Eric Adams is on his way to one term? Oh, poor little old Eric. He thought he was making promises he wouldn't have to keep, boy. Eric is on his way to one damn term. Whoever runs against him next is going to be talking about, remember when New York City didn't have migrants and the homeless all over the damn place and committing crimes? And boy, I'm telling you, little old Eric don't know what to do. Eric should have been there at the damn bus station with a shotgun talking about, don't let them bastards off that bus. Tell them keep going till they get to Fargo. All right, Eric, we're a sanctuary city. It'll be all right. How many buses could Texas possibly afford to send up here? Sir, it's Texas and Florida and Arizona. What? Yes, sir. They got it on rotating shifts. The bus drivers are on rotating shifts coming up here. What? Yes, sir. Oh, Eric figured, well, don't worry, we can handle it. Okay. He said it's like 500 a day showing up. Y'all doing 500 a day. Okay, they filling up a damn stadium every month. What's the worst that can happen? Oh, this is the worst that can happen.
Is going to cause.
I told everyone last year, this migrant crisis is going to come to a neighborhood near you. That day has arrived.
A crisis, Adams says, desperately needs federal action. In Clinton Hill, Brooklyn, Hannah Klieger.
It doesn't need federal action. The rest of us are not sanctuary cities or sanctuary states. We didn't sign up to be part of Eric Adams' perversion for illegals. We need federal action. No, nigga, we need you to stop making promises you can't keep. We a sanctuary city, but all of y'all stay down there in Texas. You stay down there in Louisiana. Stay down there in Arizona. We a sanctuary city all the way up here in the north in New York. You go any further, you'll be in Canada. But we're proudly a sanctuary. We welcome the illegals. The illegals said, oh, we so glad to hear that. Y'all, they gonna keep this up and Eric Adams' diabetes is gonna go out of control. I ain't snitching on him. Everybody knows I think he's diabetic. Man, they gonna get his diabetes, his blood sugar gonna be spiking out this damn world. He gonna be high and low. High and low. Y'all quit messing with Eric. You're gonna mess up his diabetes. Eric is like, man, I thought I was gonna get in the mayor's office and get my diabetes under control. Man, he gonna be eating Krispy Kreme donuts, flapjacks. Boy, Eric ain't gonna be able to hold it. Eric ain't gonna be able to hold it. He thought he had a little cush job in New York, seeing hold hands, pinch some of the female police officers on the ass. He thought it was going to be that. That's what he thought the job was going to be. He thought the job was going to be that. He didn't know. He didn't know. But just in case you were wondering whether or not the illegals in New York are minding their manners, oh boy, check this one out. Brawl erupts outside Harlem migrant shelter because Harlem doesn't have enough issues going on already. Keeping you all up to date.
Witnesses say a group
and we're seen throwing objects at people walking by. Fox 5's
erupted outside a migrant shelter over the weekend.
A group of disorderly men were seen throwing objects at people walking by. Fox 5's Christine Russo joins us live from Harlem. Christine, what do we know about what happened?
Natasha, Steve, so yesterday police told us that a group of migrant men staying at this shelter started this fight yesterday morning by throwing objects at people who were just walking by here. But then today, police were no longer able to confirm that they were migrants. Regardless, a fight did break out here and ultimately sent 2 people to the hospital. A Sunday morning fight outside out here and ultimately sent 2 people to the hospital.
We don't know if they're migrants. Who the hell in Harlem dresses like this? Who in Harlem, even the Dominicans, who in Harlem dresses like this? We don't know if they're illegal aliens or not. Oh, sorry, migrants. We don't know if they're migrants or not. Who the hell dresses like this in Harlem? Who's from Harlem? Who does that? Who dresses like this?
At people who were just walking by here. But then today, police were no longer did break out here and ultimately sent 2 people to the hospital.
I mean, do y'all see the bottom of his damn jeans around them shoes? Do you see that?
Fight hospital.
I mean, I know they got bouquet on here. Boy, you see the bottom of them jeans like that? Who does that?
Shelter sent 2 people to the hospital. Ultimately sent 2 people Sunday morning. A Sunday morning fight outside a Harlem shelter sent 2 people.
Who in Harlem, from Harlem, dressed like this? What in the world? They don't even sell shirts like that at Dr. J's. What are you talking about? Who in Harlem, from Harlem, dresses like this? Who? In the summer? What?
People to the hospital. Fight did break out here and ultimately sent 2 people to the hospital. A Sunday morning fight outside a Harlem shelter sent 2 people to the hospital. Witnesses say a group of men standing outside the shelter at 31 Central Park North were throwing objects at people walking by. They say when a 35-year-old man tried to step in and stop them, he was pushed through a glass door of an apartment building. Then a 41-year-old man tried to intervene in that attack and was also assaulted by the original
New York
group.
City is
Intervene
just a crazy
in
place.
That attack apartment building. Then a 41-year-old man tried to.
Why do all of the female emergency responders in New York look like they're auditioning for OnlyFans? Why is that? Someone explain that to me about New York City. Every emergency responder, every nurse, every traffic ticket woman, why do they all look like they are auditioning for OnlyFans? Like they're just always posing. She looks like she's taking selfies for Instagram as we speak. What is it about New York City? What the hell is it?
Intervene in that attack and was also assaulted by the original group. Police say both victims were treated for their injuries at the hospital. Neighbors who've lived here for years say there's been a definite change.
I've had concerns in the last few months with an influx of new residents at the homeless shelter on the corner.
I wonder if she voted for Eric Adams. I've had concern for a few months. Ma'am, did you vote for Mayor Adams? Well, All right, Eric said, I ain't kept no other campaign promises, but there's one I did keep.
ISIS is going to come to a neighborhood last year.
Is going to cause.
I told everyone last year, this migrant crisis is going to come to a neighborhood near you. That day has arrived.
Oh, well, that's your ass.
And deal with it, nigga.
So, yeah, okay. Well, ma'am, the crisis is on your block now.
One woman we spoke to didn't want to show her face on camera, but says since the pandemic, there's been a feeling of unease.
I actually was attacked on the train down the station.
Get ready for more.
Safety is not the word for New York, I feel now.
The fight started outside the former Lincoln Correctional Facility, which is now being used as a temporary shelter for asylum seekers and newly arrived migrants.
Oh boy, I hope that's not security.
People who live on the city, which is now being used as a...
I hope that dude ain't security. I know some of y'all like to just get some folks. We hired big nigga security. I hope he's not the security guard, because if he is, boy, if I don't give a damn was a security guard, he would look like that.
A temporary shelter for asylum seekers and newly arrived migrants. People who live on this block say this particular shelter isn't the one they're really concerned with, but the other homeless shelter down the block on Lenox Avenue.
There's a lot of people hanging out at the homeless shelter now for the immigrants, and they don't seem to cause a problem, but the main shelter on Lenox Avenue is the one that we're concerned about.
Boy, she ain't like she snitching to the police. I mean, it's not a problem here, but they went over there on Lenox, ma'am. All of them are a problem. I don't know why you trying to minimize the one next to you. All of them problems. So you're actually just making the issue worse for yourself. She thinks she's being strategic. No, you're just making the issue worse for yourself.
For safety.
Police say they did arrest one man from the group.
Y'all. All right, fine. We don't know if he's a migrant, really. If he ain't, he'll do till if he's not illegal, he'll do till the illegals get here.
For disorderly conduct, but the others took off. We asked people what they feel is needed here.
I need more cops around here.
Really, how we can...
We asked people what they feel is needed here.
I need more cops.
We need more cops around here. All right. Okay, folks. So Eric Adams brings in the problem. We gonna bring a bunch of illegal aliens here, drop them off in your neighborhood. Ooh boy, now that y'all dropped off all these illegals, we sure does need more police here. Vote for Eric Adams. You voted for Eric Adams. He brings in illegals. Things get dangerous. Ooh, we need more police. And vote for Eric Adams. All right, folks.
Around here.
We asked people what they feel.
Don't he sound like the meme of that fella, the little black dude looking all geeky, sitting on the phone, just looking like he calling the police? Don't he look like that fella? Don't he look like him? Doesn't he sound like he could be a stand-in for that? And I think we need more police around here. Sound like Carlton Banks? What the hell?
Is needed here.
I need more cops around here.
Really, how we can take care of people from health, mental health, and and go from there.
Mental health. How about tell people we are not an illegal alien sanctuary city? Get a job back in Venezuela. That's what you do. How about that one? But of course,
from health,
you're dealing with these folks here, so they're immigrants themselves, so they don't like the problem, but then they don't want, I don't know, I don't want to be saying it's just me now. Okay. Oh, well, they on your block, ma'am, so I don't feel safe. Get ready to feel a lot less safe while you keep that solidarity. Get ready to be a whole lot less safe. Oh, Eric told you, we coming for you. Not only is he coming for you, he's getting you. It is a mess down there. If you all agree, this migrant thing is a mess. And I'm saying migrants, but it's the illegal aliens. If you agree that it is a mess, give me the wastebasket emoji in the chat room and hit the likes button for me. It's over 4,000 people in here right now. So give me the trash can emoji in the chat room and hit the likes button for me. Or we'll go ahead and wrap it up here tonight. I had a few things I wanted to get to, including some other chicanery going on. We'll come back to that here. Oh boy. Folks, you can't get to the hospital. If you're in New York City, you can't get to the hospital. But guess who can?
Well, as we mentioned, the migrant crisis continuing to put pressure on the city's shelter system.
Officials are taking more steps to address the ongoing issue, with plans to open another emergency relief center. Fox 5's Reagan Medji joins us live from City Hall with more. Good morning, Reagan.
Good morning, guys. The city is now opening a shelter in a parking lot in Queens Village. In addition, now there's a new policy shift about migrants in housing that after a certain amount of time, they have to start reapplying for new housing.
Now, let me get this straight. If you live in New York City, this is one of the most notoriously unfriendly places in America for housing. If you're a resident of New York, a legal resident, you have to live in a damn closet. We ain't got no housing for you. These illegals show up and all of a sudden, everybody's jumping up here. What the hell? By the way, if my likes don't go up here in the next couple of minutes, we'll go ahead and close things out for the night. I got other stuff to take care of here. Anyway, but if folks don't like the program here tonight, we'll just go ahead and shut it down and you can go back and go watch preseason football, Russell and Ciara. So, folks, if you're an illegal alien, we can make more housing. If you live there, don't know what we can do for you.
More than 93,000 asylum seekers have passed through New York City. Over 56.
93,000, that's damn near 100,000. Damn near 100,000 people. Boy, I'm telling you, Florida, Texas, Arizona, and all the rest of them states, man, they ain't bull jiving. They said, oh, New York, we got something for your ass. Over 93,000. Now, on the one hand, you want to say it's comedic, but on the other hand, take a look at where they're sending them. Take a look at where they're sending them. Now, that part isn't a joke. They're not sending them to Tribeca. They're not sending them to Chelsea. They're not sending them to Soho. They're not sending them to the financial district. They're not sending them there. When you tried to set up shop in a place they didn't want you to be in, you tried to set up shop there. Like, oh, no. We came and removed them right now. They won't be here for any length of time. We're going to come get them right now. But everywhere else, we want to make sure they can hang out and just stay. So that's the part right there I want you to keep in mind.
93,000 asylum seekers have passed through New York City. Over 56,000 are currently being cared for by the city. Officials.
So they all just sit around on their phones, basically. So the female emergency workers in New York, all they do, they get paid to sit around on their phones, wear short sleeve shirts, and try to look tempting. That's what they, and swing their hips. That's what they do in New York. So, folks, if you want a cush job in New York City, if you're a female in New York City and you can't pay the rent, something's wrong. It certainly isn't from manual labor. That's for damn certain.
56,000 are currently being cared for by the city. Officials now say they've handed out notices to more than 100 migrants staying at city shelters, giving them 60 days to find other housing.
Let me get this straight. 93,000. 93,000 have shown up after all these months, and they've handed out 100 notices, 100 notices to let them know they got 60 days. 100 out of 93,000. Okay.
Giving them 60 days to find other housing. It's part of a new policy shift announced last week. If migrants cannot find housing after 60 days, they must reapply and wait for another spot to open.
Okay, now isn't that what Governor Abbott And the rest of them at the border are saying that, hey, we don't have room for you and you need to apply for citizenship. You need to apply for asylum. So you're taking them to New York, holding them for 60 days, and then kicking them out and telling them they need to reapply for housing. Why isn't Mayor Adams simply supporting that at the border? Why don't you just support that at the border, sir? Because you're doing exactly what you were blaming these other governors for doing. They've been dealing with for decades. You didn't make it one calendar year, and you're the cause of the problem. Well, y'all need to get out and reapply. Well, why don't you just stop them at the border? That way, that won't be an issue. There's a reason for that, folks. There's a reason for it. And before tonight's program is over, you gonna see it. Live and in living color, you're gonna see it before tonight's program is over.
People initially that we're giving the notices to are the people that have been in our system for the longest.
Housing for migrants continues to be a challenge. So now the city's turning to the Creedmoor Psychiatric Center in Queens Village to house up to 1,000 adult men on the grounds.
Construction will begin in the coming weeks.
Deputy Mayor Ann Williams Isom announced.
I don't be trying to mock people or nothing. I ain't trying to do nothing like that, okay? It's not the case. Not at all. Why does she look like Jar Jar Binks? I don't understand. This is the deputy mayor. And then she's like, we're going to construct housing. Ma'am, please.
Up to 1,000 adult men on the grounds.
Construction will begin in the coming weeks.
Deputy Mayor Ann Williams Isom announcing the new Emergency Humanitarian Relief Center for migrants located in the center's parking lot. City Hall hopes it's up and running by early August. This plan receiving pushback from Queensborough President Donovan Richards, who says this decision should have been made with the partnership of local leaders. As for the cost, New York State has been reimbursing the city for some costs related to the migrant crisis, as agreed upon in the state budget. The state has agreed to cover all costs associated with building and running the shelter at Creedmoor.
So your tax dollars are going to go to building a shelter for all these illegal aliens coming into New York. Because you see, there is no money for reparations. Don't you understand? There is no money for that. There's no money for reparations. There's no money for economic development for foundational people. There's no money for that. And by the way, didn't take some huge long fight in the legislature or the city council while the money is just on the table. That's it. You didn't get a vote, no public hearing, no nothing. No nothing. For 1,000 illegals who are not even supposed to be here, but they're bringing them here for a reason. Folks, 100,000 people, just understand that at that rate, they can basically drown out all the descendants of the slaves in Harlem. That's it. You basically just be a whole immigrant situation. Well, you would never have to change anything then, now would you? And I couldn't help but notice that when we were doing these stories before, when they were showing the Jewish fellas lined up at the bus station to welcome the illegals off the bus, I was like, by the way, are they taking them to their part of town? Are they taking them to the ocean? Are they taking them to the Hasidic enclaves? Or are they telling them, okay, we're going to round all y'all up and put you in Harlem, and if we need anything, we'll call you to be our day laborers? Just wondering about that. Sure, it's all accidental, right? Folks, if you can't get hotel space in New York City, first of all, if you couldn't get parking in New York, If you are having trouble finding parking in New York because they got the tents set up.
Used to be a series of
Yeah, if you can't find parking in New York because they got the tents set up. You can't find housing in New York because they're prioritizing everyone who ain't you. If you want to visit New York, hotel space is at a premium.
In New York City right now, there are dozens of asylum seekers sleeping outside of the Roosevelt Hotel in Midtown Manhattan. Many of them spent the day in the heat and the rain. The hotel says it's at full capacity. Well, now the mayor's office is working to find people a place to stay. Eyewitness News reporter Anthony Carlo has the story from Midtown. Find people a place and the rain. The hotel says it's at full capacity. Well, now the mayor's office is working to find people a place to stay.
I'm Jason Black, and I can find them a place to stay. They can stay back in Haiti, back in the Dominican Republic, back in Jamaica, back in Honduras, back in Venezuela, back in Mexico. They can back in El Salvador, San Salvador. They can stay there. I found them a place to stay. You didn't even have to pay me $180,000 a year for that one. See, look, I found them a place to stay right now. Turn them damn buses, lock the doors, turn them buses around, and keep going until you hit the southern border. And okay, we found a place for you to stay now. Yeah, where you came from. Plenty of room there. Oh, but it's bad and dangerous. And meanwhile, you up here making it bad and dangerous. Sounds to me like you back at home is right at home.
Eyewitness News reporter Anthony Carlo has the story from Midtown.
The line here outside the Roosevelt Hotel continues to be long. Asylum seekers out here waiting in all kinds of weather, waiting to get into the city's intake center, a process some of them that we've spoken to can only describe one way so far. Hard. Sitting on
hard. Folks, do you see how determined... Look, let me tell you something. When you allow cowardly individuals into your proximity, it doesn't get better. This is what happens when you bring in cowards. They would rather sit here in the elements and tell you that's hard than to actually fight for their homeland. That's the kind of individual you're bringing in here. If they wouldn't fight for the homeland they were born in, and take a look at these pants here, y'all. Okay. If H&M has an illegals section, they all shop in there. But in any case, this is what happens when you do that. They have no loyalty or allegiance to anything, not even each other. Now you're bringing them here, but you have to understand the government likes that because they want to foster a population that has no real allegiance to anything. They don't have allegiance, but they have dependence. So if you are dependent, it doesn't matter if you have allegiance or not. Well, you'll just have to do what they say.
cardboard boxes laid out in the heat, huddled together to avoid the rain. The journey for these asylum seekers hasn't gotten much easier, even after getting to New York City.
No sleep. 2 days.
He's not alone.
2 days. I think you can get more sleep back in Somalia, Sudan, Kenya, Port-au-Prince, Port-au-Potty, wherever it's from, sir. Plenty of sleep to be had back there.
He's not alone in New York City.
No sleep. 2 days.
He's not alone. This child conked out on his mother's shoulder Saturday evening as they waited to get into the city's intake center at the Roosevelt Hotel. At capacity, its sign reads, some waiting for days. The line wrapped around Vanderbilt Avenue.
And ain't that supposed to be like a 4-star hotel? The sign has done fell off, it's in disrepair. Who the hell gonna want to stay there? This is our illegal alien shelter. Who the hell's gonna want to stay there?
You in the heart of Midtown.
I come into work today and you can't move. You know, they're in front of the restaurant, they're sitting down, and you know, it's like, it's not their fault, but
What? Did she just say it's not their fault? What? Well, I'm saying you have an immigrant population, so on the one hand, it's inconveniencing them and choking them terribly, and on the other hand, well, I mean, I need to stay on code, though. I mean, it ain't really their fault. They came up here illegally. That's the definition of their fault.
You know, they're in front of the restaurant, they're sitting down, and you know, it's like, it's not their fault.
Yeah, this is what we're up against. People who actually will sit there and argue against reality because we gotta have solidarity with the other immigrants now. We gotta do that now. Okay. I can't say nothing bad about them. Okay. First time they come up in there and bop her ass over the head and take her all her hot dogs, she's gonna be like, ooh, hell, we gotta do something about this. Like the other fellow, we need to call the police. We need more police down there. So first time they sit here and bust her burritos out of her head, then she gonna be like, ooh, you know, send them back where they came from. That's what we need to do.
Sitting down, and you know, it's like, it's not their fault, but it's a little crazy.
In the thick of the sweltering heat, families boarded a bus provided by the city for some relief. This family from Ecuador still with burning questions.
A bus for their relief. Give their asses some relief all the way back to El Salvador. You got the bus. Once they get on it, close the door, take off. We rolling.
For some relief. This family from Ecuador still with burning questions.
I don't know where they will give us shelter.
The mayor's office says
Are you a grown-ass man who left from where you were from to come up here and talk about they ain't giving us nothing? Yeah, they're such hard-working individuals that they will not work hard where they came from. Folks, you can't be a hard-working individual and then flee where you're coming from, where you're from, and say, somebody else needs to give me something. That's not a hard-working individual. He should be ashamed. His woman and his kids, if there's a woman, kids, what the hell going on here? What the hell? She should turn around and slap fire hell out of him. Telling you, if you had been doing something back in El Salvador, we wouldn't be up here roasting in the middle of the damn street in New York.
I don't know where they will give us shelter.
The mayor's office says children and families continue to be prioritized and are found to bed every night, while we at least offered all adults a temporary place to wait off the sidewalks last night. Some may have chosen to sleep outside, and in all honesty, New Yorkers may continue to see that more and more as hundreds of asylum seekers continue to arrive each day.
Hundreds arrive each day. Okay, get ready for the lynching.
Has the city offered you any room or place to stay in?
I don't.
New York City doesn't offer anything to the citizens who don't have a place to stay. And you brought your big goofy minute bowl looking ass up here and talking about, the city gonna give me something?
Each day. Has the city offered you any room or place to stay in?
I don't see a room.
They cry out for the bare necessities.
Queremos food. Todos, yeah, food.
Some just happy to have made it here, but for others, this is not what they expected, nor is it humane.
We friends inside said no problem, but money people.
The mayor's office urges asylum seekers to take shelter placements outside of New York City once they become available, repeating a desperate call to state and federal partners for help. One look at this line, desperate it is. In Midtown.
It can't be too damn desperate. They worked their asses off to get there to stand in line. So, yeah, that's your ass is what it is. Look here. If you don't want to fight for your homeland, you can fight for dehydration. That's what you can do right here. Last but not least, now this story was actually from 10 days ago, in case you all didn't know what's happening here. This was from 10 days ago. These other stories were more recent. This was from 10 days ago, and I meant to talk about it then, but some other things came up. I wanted to go ahead and review this real quick, in case you didn't know this is what was going on.
Elements this morning in New York City struggle to house asylum seekers. We're already seeing people being turned away from at least one arrival center.
Now, this comes as the mayor just said that there was no more room in the city to house them. CBS News' John Diaz live at the Roosevelt Hotel in Midtown. And John, what is happening right there when these people get dropped off?
Yeah, Chris and Mayor, good morning, both of you. Well, we can tell you, buses of asylum seekers have been showing up here to New York City for almost a year now. But now new ones that show up, they will be turned away right at the door. While we have not seen any buses here this morning at the Roosevelt Hotel, if they do start to show up, they will be told they can't call this place home.
Yo no quiero hotel. Yo lo que
Oh, man, why does he look like Gollum from Lord of the Rings, y'all? I ain't even dissing on him here. Do you see this little weird nigga? Y'all, come on now. You letting this in the country?
We don't want to sleep on the street.
But Manuel Rodriguez doesn't really have any other option. After a 4-month journey from Venezuela to New York City, shelter doors were slammed closed on him Wednesday night.
They're telling.
Oh, didn't he talking a mile a minute? I see he's energetic, well rested, and well fed. He's talking a mile a damn minute. Soon as they showed up, okay, the other folk was real tired when they were speaking. Not this little bastard. Not him.
Journey from Venezuela to New York City, shelter doors were slammed closed on him Wednesday night.
They're telling us to go find somewhere to go. Where are we going to go with?
I think you can go back to Middle Earth, sir. That's where you can go. I know fighting Sauron was hell, but we got a place for you to go. Middle Earth or wherever it was the hobbits came from, whatever that little town was, Hobbitville or whatever. Yeah, you can go back there, sir. Where am I going to go? That's where you can go, sir.
They're telling us to go find somewhere to go. Where are we going to go with no money?
He is part of the latest group of...
Where we gonna go with no money? How the hell did you get up here? You just came literally across 2 continents with no money. Where we gonna go with no money? The same damn way you got up here with no money. What the hell you talking about? He just crossed 2 damn continents without a penny. No, there was nobody but him and Frodo with the 9 fingers. But he made it all the way to Brooklyn. Now he's telling you and me, oh, I don't know what I'm going to do with no money right here. Are you serious? Call Gandalf, nigga.
Go find somewhere to go. Where are we going to go with no money?
He is part of the latest group of asylum seekers arriving to the Roosevelt Hotel, a city-designated arrival center for asylum seekers. Instead of a safe place to sleep, they were handed these unexpected notices, saying there was no housing for them, something every new asylum seeker will likely get.
I didn't see anything. They left me silent. Just go over there. There's no shelter or space for anyone.
This came right after Mayor Eric Adams made it clear New York City has reached its breaking point, and now there is no longer space for asylum seekers coming in.
Right now, we have no space. So wherever they can wait, they are waiting.
Okay, they was waiting up under the BQE. You came and cleared them out, remember? Wherever they can wait, they can wait. Okay, let me set up my tent over here in the BQE. You can't wait over here, though. Really? All right. Y'all, Eric, boy, I'm telling you, I hope he enjoys his 1 term as mayor because they already done put the boots to him.
Asylum seekers coming in.
Right now, we have no space. So wherever they can wait, they are waiting.
He insists New York has been carrying the weight of the nation's crisis, citing the absence of state or federal aid. He will have to take drastic actions to ensure some of the youngest asylum seekers are kept out of harm's way.
We don't want to...
Well, I heard that. I thought they dropped the baby. At first, you heard that squeal when he dropped it. I was like, oh, did he drop the baby there? They don't give a damn about the kids. They said, look at little bastard. You was good enough to get us across the border. We don't need you no more.
Actions to ensure some of the youngest asylum seekers are kept out of harm's way.
We don't want to...
Okay, that was an illegal leg. That was an illegal alien leg. Okay, I didn't see it at first. That was an illegal alien leg. All right. Go on.
Actions to ensure some of the youngest asylum seekers are kept out of harm's way.
We don't want to reach the point, and we won't reach the point, where families and children are living on our streets like you're seeing in other municipalities.
Sir, we seeing it in your municipality right here. What you talking about? We won't see folks living on the streets. Excuse me, somebody give Eric. Boy, Eric is just like, look, if I say it ain't happening, will they ignore it? All right, Eric, I mean, you can say that, dude, but meanwhile, on the news, this right here, you see all them tents and all them families living on the street? Yeah, they ain't gonna happen. That's not gonna happen in New York like it is in other places, even though it's happening in New York like it is in other places. Man, Eric, if you think you can talk your way out of this, New York is a silly-ass city, but it's not that damn silly, Eric. It really, really isn't. He's trying to play the Jedi mind trick on all 5 boroughs. This ain't gonna work.
Don't want to reach the point, and we won't reach the point, where families and children are living on our streets like you're seeing in other municipalities.
To keep the migrant children safe, he says in a few days, the city will begin providing 60-day notices to adult asylum seekers who are already in shelters to find alternate housing. If they can't, they will be required to reapply for a new placement. Opponents say he is starting to play favoritism and the city should not be limiting shelter stays. In a joint statement, the Legal Aid Society, along with the Coalition for the Homeless, said in part, quote, both the state and the city have a legal obligation to ensure that people who lack shelter are safe and secure and protected from exposure to the elements.
Now, as we speak, there are nearly 55,000 asylum seekers being housed in New York City.
Yeah, because there is no housing for the residents of New York City, don't you understand? There's nothing for the residents of New York City. New York City's residents can't get anything, but illegals, well, sure. Line up and pile up. That's what you can do. But Jason, you've talked to us about this before, about the situation here, and you've exposed before their reasons for doing it, but does it go a little bit further, especially where New York City is concerned? Why, yes, there is, folks, and I'm going to tell you right now, it's a lot more devious and nefarious and, quite frankly, diabolical. It really, really is. It really, really is. Because under the cover of chaos, you can do all kinds of things. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get into that right after this brief commercial, non-commercial break. First, I want to thank everyone, and I do mean everybody who has contributed to support tonight's program on PayPal, CashApp, Super Chat, Venmo, my man Black Voltron. Good evening, B1. Salute to you here, sir, as well. We appreciate that. John Gilroy, YGLTB1. My girl Brenda Starr, we appreciate that. Snaps Bell and everyone else here. We're going to take a very brief commercial, non-commercial break. When I come back, Jason, why is this happening here? We covered this before with Miami and places like that. But in New York City, I want to show you something else that's going on there. And we will get to that right after this commercial, non-commercial break. This is The Black Channel.
Are you ready to take the next step in your career or business? With Higher Life Recruiting and Consulting, you can get the help you need to reach your goals. Our experiences span multiple industries, giving us the ability to source top talent across various fields. We specialize in STEM and high-tech industries, but we are equally adept at recruiting and professional services. Our services include career consulting, resume writing, LinkedIn consulting, interviewing, lead generation, sourcing, and talent mapping. Follow us on Instagram at Get Higher With Us.
Having computer problems? Is your PC or Mac running slow? Need help building a gaming PC? Having problems with your Apple or Android device? Call or text Fix Too Fast. We can fix common and uncommon computer software issues remotely anywhere nationwide from the comfort of your home or business. Are you having hardware issues with your PC or Mac? Ship it to us and we will ship it back fixed. Call 1-877-412-9890 or text 513-440-1646 to speak to a technician. Please visit our website at www.fixtoofast.net.
A white supremacist assassin seeks revenge. Corrupt FBI agents with evil intentions. Dangerous black collaborators dedicated to treason. Occam Jeffers must defeat them all and somehow survive. One misstep and he's a dead man. Join Occam Jeffers as he looks the devil in his blue eyes and tells him, "Black first." A sequel to the underground hit War of the Heart, Spirit of 1811 Publishing presents God Love Us, on sale at Amazon. Pre-order and save today. Visit spiritofo1811publishing.com and show your love.
More Threads. A brand owned by a descendant of Black American freedmen was created to uniquely address Black American history and contributions that have been intentionally hidden and suppressed. Use their apparel and more to learn and share the Black American history of Black inventions, heroes, towns, Black business districts, and more. Sign up and support not only a Black-owned business, but a movement at www.morethread.co.
Order yours today to experience all the benefits of Ash Kickin' natural body butter. With skin so smooth and soft, you'll thank us for it. Shop Ash Kickin' online. That's ASHKICKIN.com.
Hi, this is Brenda Starr, creator of Poetry with a Purpose and author of the book Pressed But Not Crushed. Pressed But Not Crushed is an anthology of political poems that address current and historical issues in American descendants of slave population and African American population. The book describes slaveries and its residuals, Jim Crow segregation, social depredation, and other relevant issues to American descendants of slaves and African Americans, including the current political climate that does not address our issues.
This is the Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. Very glad to be with you all here this evening. And as we are discussing here about these things here, about the illegal aliens and what they're doing up there and whatnot, there's been a little bit of a obfuscation, if you will, about what exactly is happening and why. And I would suggest to you all tonight that there's a real big reason why it is that this is occurring. And they're going to get a lot worse before it's over. And there's a reason for it, because you see, you take a look at all the stories that they're talking about in that area. There's one story that you all may not have heard about. And that's what I want to bring to you all here tonight. You've heard about the folks on the street. You've heard about the folks lined up on the street, but there's a different group that's lined up on the streets out there. There's a different group.
¿Cómo están? Sean todos bienvenidos a un nuevo video. Como lo prometido es deuda, hoy les voy a mostrar cómo es el mercado de las cariñosas en la ciudad de Nueva York.
Let me go ahead and pause that so you all can read what that says. Wild video shared to YouTube by Comunidad Latina en USA shows sex workers boldly soliciting passerby on sidewalks in Queens. By the way, where is that hospital they were just telling us about? Is that in Queens? Yeah, was that in Queens? In case you were wondering. Okay. Yeah, I'm starting to see a convergence here. By the way, in case you were wondering, this story was just posted yesterday. Just posted yesterday.
Mira, y se va metiendo uno, mira. Y capturado.
Oh, I think that's one of the passport bros.
Se va metiendo uno, mira. Y capturado.
In case you all didn't know, take a look at that part there, waning enforcement. You'll find out what they mean about enforcement here. dozen brothels camouflaged as massage. People, you can't have a dozen damn illegal businesses in New York City. With the amount of intel that the New York Police Department has, you can't have a dozen businesses that are camouflaged. That just isn't possible.
I lived here my entire life, and I've never seen it get to this point.
Solo masaje 60, más dinero.
Y si quiero con sexo, ¿no?
Sí.
¿Cuánto?
Más dinero a allá.
Ya, pero ¿cuánto cuesta con, por ejemplo,
Todo.
final feliz?
Todo.
You see that video where, I mean, this is put on Facebook, YouTube, and saying here's a destination for you to come to, learn how to negotiate.
Yeah, come take a bite out of the Big Apple. Come take a bite out of the Big Apple. That's what they're doing now. That's what they're doing now. Come take a bite out of the Big Apple. So, yeah. Let's go ahead and take a look at the story here from the New York Post. And yes, we do know the New York Post is quasi-white supremacist rag, but there's one part of the story here that matters here. It says, a street in Corona, Queens. Shout out to our Caribbean brothers and sisters over there in Queens. By the way, they got plans for you now, so just keep supporting this because they got plans for you. A street in Corona, Queens has turned into the city's boldest open-air market for sex. One so popular with pervs that it's advertised on YouTube. As police enforcement wanes and immigration surges, nearly a dozen brothels have set up shop along Roosevelt Avenue near Junction Boulevard. On a recent weekday in broad daylight, scores of scantily clad streetwalkers brazenly solicited passerby, including a Post reporter, as sidewalks teemed with kids and legitimate shoppers and merchants. As you can see here, one sex worker offered you a joyful evening massage for $40. All these massage parlors, you know when them folks are coming from with their massage parlors, by the way. You know where they're coming from with that. And another offered full body massages for $80. Does full body mean laying on top of you or? Okay. The women loiter in front of pool halls, dentist shops, and massage. Y'all, why is it that stop and frisk never got at these massage parlors and red light districts? Why is it stop and frisk never did that? Why is it that stop and frisk never went to the, is she supposed to be a nurse? All right. Why is it that stop and frisk never intervened at these massage parlors and with the prostitutes? Why is it stop and frisk was never there? I'm just asking for a friend. Why is it stop and frisk never showed up there in all these decades? Then you hear about Jeffrey Epstein and his connections to all these people in government, and all of a sudden, ding, it makes sense. Because just like these folks want to make sure that they've created a viable slave class, they do not want a worker class, people. They want a slave class. I've told you all about this before. You can write this down. Impoverished people are just as important to a system of capitalism as rich people are. Folks, impoverished people, poor people, destitute people are just as important and vital and necessary to a system of capitalism as rich people are. You've got to have the poor. You've got to have the impoverished. You've got to have the destitute. You've got to have that. And you've got to have people who can be taken advantage of or desire to operate at the bottom in the most disgusting, distasteful, dehumanizing parts of it. This is engineered. You're flooding the zone with people that you freely admit you cannot support. And you're flooding the zone. They're flooding the zone and saying, oh, well, this is what it's going to be. While they're telling you this is the best we can do, and they flooded the zone. It's not accidental. The women loiter in pool halls, dentist shops, massage parlors day and night, and even recruit neighborhood children to hand out their X-rated business cards, concerned moms told the Post. So that movie, The Sound of Freedom, no wonder they didn't like that very much. So much for protecting the children. Oh, but then again, you live in a pedophile culture. And let's be very, very clear, people. Prostitutes don't give a damn about children. You want to talk about the biggest pedophile enablers there are? You find prostitute or thots. You find sexually loose females, sexually promiscuous females, sexually degenerate females will be the first to hand over the children and the babies to be exploited and assaulted. They'll be the first. No wonder the bad guys want to cultivate this so much. Just a friendly reminder. How they had this effing going on in broad daylight, one police source asked after seeing photos of the women in the street. They're not allowed to arrest prostitutes anymore, supposedly, but they gotta figure something out. As you can see, they're handing out their flyers, so Telemundo is, yeah, all right. Dial this long distance number for a good time. It's a perfect storm for prostitution in Corona and other New York City immigrant enclaves. Immigrant enclaves. Immigrant enclaves. Immigrant enclaves. Immigrant enclaves. Where's Gollum? There you are. You can get satellite TV reception with those ears. Immigrant enclaves. Experts saying, I'm talking about the immigrants who are already there, the Caribbeans who thought they gonna work against us. By the way, they got a whole different thing coming for y'all. Vulnerable migrant women. Don't you mean don't you mean illegal aliens? Unable to legally work. Does she look like she's interested in a square job? Can you see this chick working at a call center? Does she look like she is the least bit interested in a square job? Are you kidding me? They're not unable to find work. She's like, look here. If I can make money with these butt cheeks, let me do that. Vulnerable illegal alien women are flooding the city, while local district attorneys have chosen to stop prosecuting sex workers. The Post found the oldest profession has some new tricks. The Roosevelt Avenue red light district is blatantly advertised on a YouTube channel for Spanish speakers with 10 minutes of footage showing the women working what they call the market of sweethearts and two men guiding viewers on how to negotiate with them. So what I'm telling you all is that the cowards of south of the border are so degenerate that they will not fight for their homeland, and they will get here, and as soon as their feet touch ground, they are exploiting their women. Don't tell me a damn thing about black men. We are the walking saints. These individuals fresh off the boat and fresh off the plane, fresh off the bus, and first order of business is exploiting their women. That's what they're not telling you here, because that's not nearly as complimentary. They're exploiting their women. This is what happens when you bring cowards among you. Cowards do not recognize or acknowledge honor. Certainly not for their own women and children. They don't recognize honor. Have no use for it, no interest in it. They don't respect it. As soon as they get off the bus, they put their women on the track. Though there wasn't a track, don't worry, we'll make one. We'll make one. The brothels appear to be cooperating rather than competing. Group economics. Group economics. Just letting you know, group economics. As the Post spoke with one sex worker, others nearby filmed and photographed, appearing to warn each other of the journalist's presence. It's not just happening in the dark of night or inside massage parlors. Women were found plying their trade in the middle of the afternoon in front of a dental clinic, a pool hall, and a barber shop. Cops no longer arrest hookers. The NYPD started focusing on Johns, the men. The NYPD started focusing on the men a few years ago after a prostitute tragically jumped to her death during a police pursuit. Now, how is it that a prostitute jumps to her death, but we gonna go after the men? It's probably because most of your prosecuting attorneys in New York City are a bunch of damn sexual degenerate deviants. Maybe that's the reason. I mean, after all, remember you had a former sitting governor of New York City. You had a former sitting governor of New York, Eliot Spitzer, who was a regular of hookers and prostitutes. He was attorney general and then became governor of the state. This is where you ended up where you are. This is how you end up where you are now. Then you have Andrew Cuomo. Yet another one. New York City is very good for finding this degenerate class of individual to be their political representatives. In April 2021, then Manhattan DA Cy Vance announced his office would stop prosecuting sex workers, and other borough prosecutors soon followed suit. So now you all understand what happened. The Manhattan DA said he would stop prosecuting prostitutes. So he has effectively decided to decriminalize prostitution. Well, understand something. That gives a green light to the pimps, the madams, and everybody else to come recruit your daughters. Because you see, it's not a problem if the daughters can't get arrested. Well, then you can't work at the food chain. So it makes it easier to be a pimp or a madam when you let the girls operate with impunity and you just say, well, we're not going to step in unless somebody dies. So what they did was decriminalize the pimps and madams is what they did. And Cy Vance is not stupid about that. If I understand this, he understands this. I wonder if there's some videos or some tapes or some photographs of him out there somewhere, because as you'll all remember, the mafia now admits it. Go to Michael Francis's YouTube channel. The mafia now admits it that, yeah, J. Edgar Hoover was on our hooks. We had photographs of him engaging in homosexual acts with other men, cross-dressing and other things. And that's how we had J. Edgar Hoover so far under our boots that he refused to even acknowledge that we existed. The criminal underworld has long understood blackmail, long been using it, and long been using these sexual degenerates and deviants because they're the easiest to compromise, thus they are the easiest to control. They're old hands at this, old hands. Now you're just seeing the modern day incarnation of it. Brothels and sex workers are actively recruiting kids. Some of them hand out cards with a photo of a sex worker offering delivery service. This is an Uber for hoes? Are y'all serious? This is ho Uber? This is ho Uber. Uber hoes, Uber thoughts. All right. According to Terrified Moms, about 20 of whom have banded together to form the Community of Young Values and Principles in Corona. Quote, I've lived here my entire life and I've never seen it get to this point, said City Councilman Francisco Moya, who is sounding the alarm about the issue and says he's asked Mayor Adams for help. Well, Mayor Adams is a little tied up right now for some other problems of his own making. Yeah, Mayor Adams is he's a little busy right now dealing with the other calamity that he's caused. So, yeah, you might have to wait, put a message on his voicemail and wait for him to get back to you. Moya was especially incensed by the Market of Sweethearts video by the group Comunidad Latina en USA, which has more than 19,000 YouTube subscribers. Somebody said Whoredash. Not DoorDash, Whoredash. Is that what you saying it is? Their delivery service is Whoredash? Shy citizen? You're corrupting the youth. You should be ashamed. The two male guides in the clip are seen asking one Corona sex worker how much, for example, does it cost for a smiling day? The woman replies, $200. Y'all, inflation done hit the sex business. Inflation done hit the sex business. $200. Inflation is out of control. The woman replies, $200. Reminds me of the Two Live Crew thing. And everything, anything we want, anything you want. $200 with everything? The man marvels before telling the audience that's how much that service costs here in New York. And how much does it cost in your city? Moya fumed. This is going on Facebook, YouTube, and saying, here's the destination for you to come, learn how to negotiate with prostitutes. Yeah, your block is famous now. Because of Eric Adams and the other deviants. They're telling you, come to New York City. This is the whorehouse. Folks, doesn't this sound like New York City of the 1970s and early 80s? Doesn't it sound like that? So first they create a huge problem. They get you under their damn thumb. They create a huge problem and tell you, oh man, there's nothing else we can do about that. What are you going to do? You need to go ahead and let us bring in more police. You need to let us bring in more police. That's what we need to do. That's the kind of help we need. So they create these huge problems and then tell you, well, you know what? We could really get this cleaned up. You know the best way to deal with that. Go ahead and bring in more cops. Bring in more people here to watch the damn block. More people. They're going to do everything except the damn hookers. We got to leave them where they at. We need more police. That's what we need. We need more police. So yeah, it looks like New York of the 1970s and 80s. And then next thing you know, they bring in somebody who's going to take these whole areas. They're going to round up the chicks, take them off somewhere after they serve their purposes. All the illegals, they'll be all shoveled off somewhere else. Try to get the native black people out the city altogether. Here's your new population of New York. This is the new docile, domesticated population of New York, along with the others, because nothing is more domesticated and docile than a female who prostitutes herself. So it's not accidental. I'm letting you know what's going on. Says that he added, we need to get enforcement in here to clean up Roosevelt Avenue, because no community should have to be faced with the quality of life issues that we're facing here each and every day. At least 6 alleged brothels have been shuttered since June by the Queens DA through nuisance abatement, which allows prosecutors to impose large fines and year-long closures. But cops and locals say the effort barely made a dent. Quote, you're looking at prostitutes being in a hub area, a law enforcement source told the Post. So your children are right there. It's not fair to the people who live here. Now, here's the next thing I want you all to take into account. While human traffickers have long provided the local sex industry with a steady stream of Asian and Central American women, so in New York City, they would have you believe that black men are running the drug trade. Black men don't run the drug trade. Asians and whites do. That black men run the prostitute trade. Black men have never run the prostitute trade. Everybody else does. But that's not the way it's portrayed on the news. And I will say it, when they discuss the model minorities, why can't you pull yourself up by your bootstraps? Model minority, they never mention this part. Very interesting here. When they mention the model minority, they never say nothing about this. These pictures never make it anywhere. The news doesn't put this up writ large. Now, isn't that convenient? Steady stream of Asian and Central American women trying to escape horrid conditions in their homelands. Is there anything more horrid than being turned? So the conditions in your homeland were worse than being a whore on a New York street? Really? With a bunch of people who came from where you just came from? With a bunch of folks who came from where you just came from? Shut the hell up. The recent flood of migrants into the 5 boroughs has created a larger and more desperate pool of potential prostitutes. Quote, we're aware of the fact that many young people have immigrated here. Kids 15 or 16 years old, and they're not in school, they're working. And these prostitutes find them and pull them, said Guadalupe Aguirre Gomez, the coordinator of Community of Young Values and Principles. Tanya Bien Amy, executive director of the Coalition Against Trafficking in Women, said there are trafficking cartels from Mexico and Central America who ship women into Queens and parts of Brooklyn. And I'm just wondering to myself, how are they getting here? If you're going to tell me that these drug trafficking and human trafficking cartels are bringing them into New York, then the next logical question is, well, how are they getting here in such large numbers? Is anybody doing any vetting to find out that? Because when you go all over the state of Florida, They got signs at all the resorts saying if you are being human trafficked, call this number. And yet, this is what's going on in New York. Looks organized to me. Looks organized and strategized to me. She says, I spoke to a young girl in Sunset. By the way, they ship the women into Queens and parts of Brooklyn. You know, where you got your black folks at. Where you have black people at. I spoke to a young girl in Sunset Park, Brooklyn. She said she's seen vans at night picking up women from the shelters that house these new immigrants. The shelters that house these new immigrants. Women's advocate Jane Manning said migrants, quote, are at elevated risk to be pulled into the sex trade. It's harder to get an off-the-books job if you're undocumented. All right. It's harder because you're away from family and friends. That's a lie. They right by their family and friends. They all standing right there. What are you talking about? These people are such degenerate liars. It's harder because you may not speak English. Half the folk in New York City don't speak English. She's talking to us like we're fools. You don't come to New York City because you don't think anybody speaks your language. Nobody leaves their home country to go to a place where they think nobody speaks their language. You'd be insane to do that. You're going somewhere because you think they do speak your language. You think they do speak your language. Not you think they do, you know they do. Desperate authorities say they are focused on Johns, pimps, and traffickers. Very clearly, the pimps and traffickers are not being stopped, because if the pimps and traffickers were being stopped, these Asian and Latino women would not be out here on the track. They wouldn't be out here patrolling the stroll. If they were actually getting... How many of y'all have seen a big bust of human traffickers in New York this week on the news? On Channel 2, Channel 4, Channel 5, Channel 6, Channel 7. How many times have you seen that news story come across your televisions? Big bust in Brooklyn today of human traffickers. You should be seeing that every damn night. That's what you should be seeing, but you're not, which tells you they've got a license to kill, or in this case, a license to thrill. Desperate authorities saying they were focused on Johns. Despite authorities saying they were focused on Johns, pimps, and traffickers, locals say the enforcement in Corona is non-existent. So far this year, there have been no trafficking arrests by either New York's 110th or 115th precincts, which cover Corona, as well as Jackson Heights and Elmhurst, and a combined 6 arrests have been made for prostitution in both precincts. So far this year, there have been none, 0, no sex trafficking arrests by either New York PD's 110th or 115th precincts. That means that they're doing this with the condoning and blessing of the political establishment, because you need a prostitute class. You need to have a class of women who can be exploited. You need people who know how to do it. That's not something that you can really set up through a city program now, can you? So you've got to have certain folks that you allow to operate in certain areas. They're allowed to operate, so the degenerates who make it in the office have places to go and get their jollies on the weekend. So the richer folks who stay up there in Rochester and Westchester, so they have a large base of individuals to get their domestic workers and their low-cost labor from. So you need that, folks. It's not something that you can have on the sneak. You need that. I wanted you all to see what was going on here tonight so you can see that, by the way, this is the kind of thing they got going on here right now. And take a look at the places where they're sending them. They're overrunning primarily these black areas with that. And I'm just talking about New York tonight, but Chicago and other places. Chicago and other places where they bring in black politicians to tell you that what we need is more open air sex. That's what we need. We need that. These things don't happen by accident. When your part of town becomes the spot for getting dope, that's not an accident. When your part of town becomes the spot for getting prostitutes, that's not an accident. When your part of town becomes the spot for picking up little children, that's not an accident. When your part of town becomes the spot to get guns, that's not an accident. That's engineered. That's not an accident. Not at all. However, you might disagree. Therefore, the telephone lines are now open. The number is 646-787-1933. That's 646-787-1933. Your personal access code to the Blackest radio program in existence. Of course, you are allowed to join us. I'd also like to thank everyone who's contributed to support tonight's program on PayPal, CashApp, Super Chat, Venmo. Big shout out to my man, Tommy Felix. The system will soon attack our children for the sex trade. You're absolutely correct. Once they've gotten the rest of these folks. Remember, even when we're at the back of the line, remember, we're in line. Shout out to Shawnee Blake and everyone else here tonight who has supported the program. We appreciate that as well. We're going to go ahead and get to the telephone lines here. The number is 646-787-1933. That's 646-787-1933. Let me get caller from area code 713. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yes, good evening, Jason. This is Tony in Houston.
All right, Tony in Houston, what's on your mind?
Well, once again, I have to give you your kudos. You've not only done your homework, but you are, for your age, and I'm 67, for your age, you know a lot. I've long since thought that New York today reminds me of New York in the 1970s and 80s. It was a complete and absolute jungle. It was terrible. It was a filthy, lawless city. And when it went bankrupt and the Washington decided that they would not bail them out, it was even worse.
Well,
what's going on?
You raised
now?
a very good point, Tony. I just want to interject for just a moment. You raised a very good point because you'll remember when New York was at its most degenerate and oppressive, it was also at its most persecutive of black people.
Yes. Exactly. And, this Eric Adams, you are so right. They bring in these complete idiots. Eric Adams is a complete and absolute imbecile. And all you have to do is listen to him for 2 minutes, and you can see it. How anybody could have voted for him to be mayor of New York City must have been on drugs. He is turning this entire mess into what you say, what exactly you say. And for black people who are listening to you tonight, all of the thousands and that are listening tonight to this broadcast, I don't care whether you think this won't happen in your area. I don't care if you think I got a good job and I live in a nice little home or apartment or something, and I have business cards and I have an education. Let me tell you something. You are right. They're moving in your area. They're coming to a place near you. And you are going to regret it so bad. And then the Democrats are telling you, vote for us. We really love you. We really care. The Democrats don't care anything about black people. And it is in the cards from Joe Biden all the way down. It's in the cards that black people will be eliminated. And they are now going, and they're instituting the plan. It's happening. It's coming to you. And if you think that because you have an education and you got all of that, you can forget it. You'll be on the train with the rest of us.
They're just going to flood the zone at this point. All the major cities are ground
exactly.
zero. They've flooded the zone. They've been doing it for years and years.
Yes.
And now, at this point right now they're just flipping the pancake over and you're up under it. Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. We got a lot of calls on the line, so let me get a caller from area code 646. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Onan from Queens. What's up, Jason?
Onan from Queens. What's on your mind?
Yeah, so real quick, I wanted to mention this interview on Fox 5 with a representative by the name of Jennifer Raj Kumar. I believe she is a woman of South Asian descent. She represents Richmond Hill, Woodhaven, I think parts of Jamaica too. But one of the things that she brought up during the interview is that she wanted to expedite the work authorizations for these migrants, because she understood that they wanted to work for the city or any other job that they could get. And the interview is mind-blowing. If you look at how these migrants are being treated as opposed to people that have been in New York for 30, 40, 50 years and have been homeless, struggling, and they're not able to get a fraction of the assistance that these migrants are getting. And it's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous, but it is also, in the words of Dr. John Henry Clark, it's a diabolical genius to it as well. Like I say, everything that they do is engineered towards destabilizing us. But on the other hand, I also have to say here, the black folk in New York City, like I say, you're never at a loss to find a group to hit you with the minorities thing. You're never at a loss for that. There's always somebody hitting you with that. And it's like, yeah, you keep saying that. And the next thing you know, you wake up one morning and realize, there is no minority coalition. They're all in the coalition against you. I'll let you have the last word.
But you know why that is? They just use all this whole black and brown coalition, because I hear you mention that all the time. And for the longest time, I never even saw it like that, because I went to high school and all of my friends were Latino, so I just got along with the Latino community, but I didn't see the winky dink that was going on. I didn't see the hoodwink, rather. And it's just they use black people as a battering ram to push forth an agenda that benefits their community at our detriment. And that's the part that I'm fed up with. But I'm going to land my plane there, so B1.
B1, brother, thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get caller from area code 917. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from? Okay, caller from area code 917. Last try. You're on live. Okay, caller from 917 has been abducted. Caller from area code 414. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
This is Michelle from Minneapolis.
Okay, Michelle.
I don't understand why they. Hello.
What is on your mind,
I don't understand
Michelle?
why they don't send all of them to these small white towns that are dying in America.
They did. They tried that. They sent them up to Martha's Vineyard. They turned them all around the same day. They gave them some food. They gave them some presents, and then sent them to a military base, and then kicked them all out the same day. So, yeah, they tried that one. Didn't last. So it tells you this is engineered.
Yeah, true.
Welcome to the jungle. They have fun and games. Thank you very much for giving us a call. Let me get caller area code 917. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Brother Black, it's Sage from Brooklyn. Can you hear me?
Okay, your phone's real muddled. What is your name again?
Sorry about that, Brother Black. The Sage from Brooklyn. You got me?
Okay, Phage from Brooklyn. What's on your mind?
How you doing, Brother Black? So again, I live up here in Brooklyn. I work for city government here in New York. So what you're talking about, Corona Queens, is North Queens, which is absolutely true. It's overrun with migrants, overrun with, quote unquote asylum seekers. But what's interesting, again, I work for city government. What they're doing now is putting a lot of, they're having a capital recon in South Queens. And that area that's quote unquote the richest black neighborhood in Queens, a lot of them are going to be how can I put this? They're putting a lot of violations on a lot of properties out there and trying to get those black families out of Queens. So what they're doing now, what they had specifically people in my office do now, is go down there and find violations to put on these properties, just so that liens can be placed on these properties. Hopefully that these people cannot pay that lien, and getting them out of that neighborhood to do whatever they want with this capital recon money that came from the federal government in Queens. So it's interesting that you're bringing this story up, because if they're trying to re-gentrify Queens, they're definitely trying to get the black people out. Well, those Nigerians or whatever, you know how they like to tout that whole neighborhood in Queens, they're not going to be there within the next 10 years if the city has its way.
Oh, absolutely. Like I say, they've served their purpose. What do we tell you all year after year? When white supremacy is done with its tools, they break them. The idea was never to have a strong black population, because you'll have too much proximity to those of us who come from the fields. You'll have too much proximity to us, and by the second or third generation, your children or grandchildren are going to be sounding just like us. That's the problem. So you either have to keep replenishing them and flooding the zone on a regular basis, or you let them just hold court for a little bit to get the foundational Negroes out the street from rioting. You take these other folks and put them in positions of power, and then you slowly cycle them out too, with a much more reliable class. And as we go into the 21st century, what you're seeing is they're replacing them with the folks of either European cultures or honorary white cultures. It is simply not acceptable and not enough to have bootlicking Negroes around. You are still too much of a threat. The plan now is very clear. We will go in from Latino society, we'll bring in the white Latinos, and they will constitute replenishing the numbers. And to the extent that you can't get that done, then we're going to also grab some of the honorary whites. Those are the Asians. Thus, last week, you see, I was telling you, all the news media is all of a sudden all concerned about vanishing Chinatown. I got the feeling I found out how they plan on fixing that issue. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight, brother. If you're on the line, if you're calling from outside the country or something, you're going to need to let the mods know in the chat room. So you're already listening on the line. If you are calling from outside of North America, you're going to need to let the mods know, because I'm not going to answer the line for a number that I'm not going to answer the line for if it doesn't show what the number is. So if you are calling from outside the country, you need to let the mods know that you're on the line, and we'll take your call. Other than that, you might as well hang up. Caller from area code 202, you're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Black first, Jason LeVar from D.C.
All right, LeVar from D.C., what's on your mind?
Yeah, brother. First of all, that little troll-looking guy talking about it's hard. He doesn't want to sleep outside. You walked 3,000 countries. You were sleeping outside the whole time. Why you complain when you get to New York? And second, PG County, Maryland, please pay attention, because 11 years ago when my daughter graduated elementary school, there were no Hispanic kids. 11 years later, my son is graduating the same elementary school. It's 15 Hispanic kids speaking fluent Spanish. And to your point, Jason, for people who don't think this is engineered, we aren't a border state. How did they get here? This is being planned. They're pushing us out, and we need to fight back and stick together. Black
Absolutely.
First,
thank you very much for giving this call. I've been warning people for years and years and years about that. Virginia, the Carolinas in particular, those are hotbeds for it there. Kentucky, Georgia, coming into Atlanta. You know, I've been trying to sound the alarm about this for years. It's not accidental. And you'll never have Roland Martin tell you any of this. Roland Martin will tell you none of this. As a matter of fact, Roland Martin said that this on your screen, he said this is what black folk need. Black folk in America, we need this. That's what Roland Martin said. Remember? Caller from area code 212, you're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from? Okay, caller from area code 212 has been abducted. Caller from area code 708, you're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from? Okay, caller from area code 708 is doing crack. Caller from area code 850, you're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Yeah, this is Keith from
Okay, pick
Panama
up your phone.
City, Florida.
Listen, take your phone off a speaker.
All right, this is Keith from Panama City, Florida.
Okay.
That better?
Keith from Panama City, Florida. What's on your mind?
I'm glad you did that because I'm up here in the Gulf in Florida. A lot of people think that, you know, Ron DeSantis is doing stuff as far as curbing, you know, the immigration thing, but it's totally different than that. He's actually masking that because when you come to the Gulf, where it is, I don't know if you ever been to Panama City vacation spot. There's so many of them here, and they're doing exactly what you did in your broadcast earlier down here. And it's very big. It was a Haitian, like a lot of Haitians were here. They got moved out. Now you got nothing but Latino.
Yeah.
And that's within the last year.
Yeah. And it's not accidental. Ron DeSantis and the rest of them there. That's why I was showing everybody that picture the way that I was. Because I wanted people to understand exactly why it's happening, exactly how it's happening. That it's not accidental.
Oh,
it's not accidental at
no,
all.
Not.
They know what they're doing there. Just understand that we're the only ones who have been confused about it. Ron DeSantis, you can see he got bootlicking Negroes, but then a bunch of white Latinos around him reinforcing the line. What I'm telling you is that's the deal. That's going to be the deal going forward. The faux Latino thing, and they're like, okay, these will be our honorary whites. These will be our honorary whites.
Yeah,
that's
exactly
literally what it is now. That's literally what's going on.
So don't fall for the smoke screen when people say, well, I like what Ron DeSantis. No, he's actually doing smoke and mirror. He's bringing them in here. And my sister is well into the Democratic Party down here. And so I get access to talk to some of the Democratic Party down here. When you talk about them approaching Latino to get votes, they change the subject. It's like, hey, wait a minute. You're doing a lot for them. You need to be pushing the ticket over there. They clam up like they don't know what you're talking about.
No, everybody
revert back to trying to get black people to vote.
Everyone knows what's going on. Folks just try to play dumb. That's the issue that we have. Everyone knows what's going on. They just try to play dumb. They're not really dumb. They just try to play stupid. And the only thing we have to remember is not to play stupid with them. Thank you very much for giving us a call. As a matter of fact, it's very good that you would bring that up there. It's very good that you would bring that up because there's also a video here. I meant to talk about this a little bit earlier. There's a video here. Kamala Harris, Vice President of the United States here, posted this from the NAACP annual convention. Kamala is getting real bold, y'all. She's been real quiet and real shy, but now this year she started getting a little more bold. I guess she figures Joe Biden looks weak and maybe there's a lane for her. Sister girl, you wrong. But anyway, Kamala Harris was talking.
Black Americans and all Americans, UCLA Law School, for real change. And our special guest has spent her life taking action and fighting for our people.
For our people. So just understand, this woman here is like an attorney general of one of the states. In Massachusetts, I'm not sure, but she's attorney general of one of the states, by the way. So this is their, champagne and caviar dinners there, what she got on the table. This is one of these champagne things here where all these bougie, boule Negroes get together and talk about how great they are with each other, while trying to convince us that them sitting around oiling up each other's backs is doing something for us.
Honored to have her come to the city of Boston and campaign for me as I was running for Attorney General and to mobilize voters.
And basically that's all I can play it's a 35-minute clip. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but that's what they kept saying the whole damn time. This basically was a get out the vote rally. That's all it was. That's all they talked about, getting out the vote. Now, remember, this will be the NAACP. So I want you all to hear a little bit of what they talked about here.
You crisscross the country, and of course, you're meeting with Americans in every community, of every demographic, and you're seeing that it is really important, as Mr. Russell just said, civic engagement and the importance of our voices. What does that look like to you? What does it feel like? And why is that important?
There is so much.
How many of them, of course, are under attack.
Rights and freedoms.
Okay, let's hear what they have to say about the rights and freedoms that we're supposed that the NAACP is in defending, and the rights and freedoms that Kamala Harris is so concerned about.
And we know every day we must be vigilant in protecting that which we have achieved and keeping our eyes on our vision, our collective vision of how we can continue to strengthen our nation.
We could go in so many different directions, but because you talked about just fundamental rights and how many of them, of course, are under attack, you have been a fighter, a forceful fighter and leader for fundamental rights, and of course, our right to do whatever we like with our own body.
To do whatever we like with our own body. To do whatever we like with our own body. To do whatever we like with our own body. I guess so long as a man isn't monetizing it, I guess. Y'all, you have, if you think that a woman will not go to law school for 12 years and come out a sick, sexual, perverted degenerate, if you think a woman can't do that, all you gotta do is take a look at these two chicks on this stage up here. And that's a woman will go to school for 12 damn years and come out the sickest, degenerate deviant that you could possibly imagine. Can you imagine some of the tricks she was turning back in law school? We know what Kamala Harris was doing. Can you imagine some of the tricks this heifer was doing?
You have been on the front lines when protecting our reproductive rights and, of course, justice in all of its forms.
Now, this is the NAACP convention, and she done broke off into a feminist abortion rant. What the hell?
In this particular moment, as we look at, of course, our history, but most importantly, the attack on these rights, how do you see it? And what do we need to be doing to protect those rights?
So we just skirt all the way up. We ain't talking about black folk at all here. It's about, well, you know, we need to defend abortion, right? Because we need fewer black babies. Because, of course, the individuals like her, sick little individuals like this, are put up there by the white establishment because they're like, yeah, get rid of the black folk. We have your replacements waiting in the wings. Oh, we're not worried about what's going to replace you. We got that covered. Now, you and sister girl, get your little sick, degenerate, pervert asses over there and toe the line.
Register to vote and then vote.
Our own body. Yeah. You have been on the front lines when protecting our reproductive rights and, of course, justice in all of its forms. In this particular moment, as we look at, of course, our history, but most importantly, the attack on these rights, how do you see it? And what do we need to be doing to protect those rights?
Register to vote and then vote.
Remember when I said that this whole thing was just a big get out the vote rally? That's what the NAACP is for now. Get out the vote for the Democrats. Deliver no tangibles whatsoever to black folk. None at all. When you get together to talk to black folk, talk about abortion and illegal aliens and can you be independent sex worker prostitute. But no, we're not talking about anything of any sense or substance. No. And vote for Biden.
And again, let me thank the leaders who are here. Just let us reflect on what the folks here accomplished in 2020.
What was that?
We were in the height of a pandemic. There was an extraordinary amount of loss of life, loss of community, loss of normalcy. People lost their jobs.
Yeah, y'all caused it.
And in the midst of all of that, the leaders who are here gathered the courage and the optimism to talk with neighbors and friends and relatives and colleagues and to remind them of the power of their voice through their vote and achieved historic outcomes. We had a record voter turnout for African Americans in 2020. We had a record turnout of young voters in 2020, thanks to the work of everyone here.
Okay, so she talks about the pandemic and tremendous loss of life, and what she says, and what you all did, you got the vote out. We had huge turnout of black folk and young blacks. So their contribution in 2020, she wants to stop and tell them, congratulations, your contribution was to get more people to vote for us. That's your contribution. That's it. That's what the NAACP is now. A get out the vote organ. But that's all.
The NAACP, by some calculations, turned out hundreds of thousands of votes alone just based on your organizing and activism.
By some estimates. Roland Martin is still waiting for his check.
And let's reflect on what that has meant. Well, one thing is it scared some people. And it is by no coincidence that immediately thereafter you started seeing extremist so-called leaders passing laws restricting voting days, making it more difficult to vote, banning drop boxes, shortening the amount of time people could vote ahead of the election, passing a law making it illegal to give somebody food and water while they are standing in line to exercise their civic responsibility and duty. Let us also mention the hypocrisy. Don't these people really believe the words about love thy neighbor? And what we have seen after 2020 is some people got scared, but a whole lot of other people got empowered.
Who are the folk who got empowered, you lying wench? Who are the people who got empowered?
Because of what you did in 2020, Joe Biden got elected president of the United States.
Oh! So that's who got empowered. You all just heard her sit here and say, but you know, because y'all got out and voted, a whole bunch of people got scared, but a whole bunch more got empowered, a whole bunch more people. How many personalities does Joe Biden have? More people. I counted one that she named so far. One. The former segregationist, by the way. And General Groper. This woman just sat here and said, whole bunch of people got empowered. For example, Joe Biden got to the White House. What? Yeah, that's who got empowered. I just wanted you all to hear it with your own ears.
People really believe the words about love thy neighbor? And what we have seen after 2020 is some people got scared, but a whole lot of other people got empowered. Because of what you did in 2020, Joe Biden got elected president.
Did you all see what she just did there, by the way? She was just imitating Obama. The way she did that, but a whole lot of other people got empowered. So she's doing her Obama half-breed imitation. Talking to black folk. They don't do that when they talk to white folk. When they talk to white folk, they act like they got some sense. They come to us and all of a sudden this whole bunch of y'all got some power there. We from the fields.
Let us also mention the hypocrisy. Don't these people really believe the words about love thy neighbor? And what we have seen after 2020 is some people got scared, but a whole lot of other people got empowered. Because of what you did in 2020, Joe Biden got elected president of the United States, and I got elected the first black woman to be vice president of the United States.
Hold up, wait a minute. Did she just say first black woman president, vice president? Did she say that?
We have seen after 2020 is some people got scared, but a whole lot of other people got empowered. Because of what you did in 2020, Joe Biden got elected president of the United States, and I got elected the first black woman to be vice president of the United States.
Really? So she's black again. Well, isn't that interesting? So, yeah, y'all, she's black again. She didn't say black and Asian. She didn't say that. Now she's black again. Yeah. And oh yeah, you all need to vote. By the way, you can go see it on her Twitter page if you want to be assaulted with it. But yeah, when she starts talking, she goes on and on about how what you need to do is get out the vote. You all need to vote. You need to vote. Come vote. That's what you need to do. You need to remember that you need to vote. You need to vote. That's the NAACP today. Let me get caller from area code 412. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hi, Jason. My name is Renee. How are you?
Okay, Renee, where are you calling from?
I am calling from North Carolina, Charlotte in particular. Jason, I wanted to tell you thank you very much for this great broadcast tonight. But we see what they are doing. We see what the Democrats doing. I'm going to say not off the back of my answers will I vote for anybody. They're wanting to get the black vote to pass laws for immigration. I'm telling you, because they're not going to immigrants. They're not even going to our immigrants to tell them to vote. They keep pushing us to vote. Now, when they keep trying to push that abortion bill towards black people, are they pushing it towards the immigrants to jumping over the border too? Or do they want their children to have birthright citizens?
Oh no, they advocate abortion for us and DACA for the illegals.
Exactly. So I don't understand. Like I said, I would just love to get into a room and talk to her and say, listen, what is going on? I'm going to know they ain't going to listen to us, but they're blocking the majority of us. We don't rock with them. They pick out their boule. They don't come to the real folks in the hood to talk to us about what we really think. They trying to, gatekeep what's going on in Chicago. All them neighbors in Chicago going off on Brandon. I watch everything. I'm sitting here in North Carolina and see it all taken over. A friend of mine has come down here to move, and she can't. Every house she tried to rent, they're owned by Indian immigrants or they're owned by Chinese immigrants. She said, Tracy, at this point, Renee, Tracy, at this point, I don't know what I want to do. She said, I don't know if I'm going to sell my house, because I don't want to rent a house down there if I got to sell my house up here. I may stay where I'm at right now. It's just, at this point, Jason, what are we going to do? We have to get on code, and I don't know what else we can possibly do. What can we do?
Well, the first order of business is what we're doing right now. The national dialogue has to change. The idea that everything is all right. Please remember, black folks as a group have been getting hammered now for the last 30 years that illegals are like us. They're minorities like us. So the first order of business is engaging in a huge public education campaign to get everybody up to speed and get this all straightened out for them to understand, no, they're not minorities like us. No, this is a net negative. No, this is part of the plan to disenfranchise us. This is a part of the plan. So first and foremost is what we're doing right now. It may seem simplistic, but let's be very, very clear. It is not enough to just sit up here and say, I see changes going on. You've got to actually be able to explain to people what those changes are and why they're a negative. And as I told the folks on last night's program, please do not discount the power of your voice. Jason Black is over here, but please understand, I'm just performing my duties as the anchor man of the new black media. It's the rest of you go places, you live places, you talk in corners that I'm not. So your job is to create the echo chamber. I build the chamber, you create the echo of it. And when you do that, that's what changes the dynamic. Remember, Barack Obama was able to walk with his head high around the country 8 years ago. Not so much today.
Right.
Kamala Harris has been on a milk carton for the last 2 years. She thinks she's going to step out here and do something, but she realizes and her numbers come up as well. So just us speaking about this, that's what creates the national conversation. And changing the national conversation is an extremely powerful thing. Thank you very much for giving us a call. Let me get caller from area code 708. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, my name's Vance. I'm calling from Dalton, Illinois, brother.
All right, Vance, what's on your mind?
Man, I'm just listening to you. I just been starting to catch you, man, for the last year and so. But this is so ridiculous how these people, as our people, keep confronting saying that we need to get behind them when an atrocity is done to us. You got these illegal immigrants coming here, taking all the resources that was funded for blacks and people who live here, who's dying or who is starving every day, and you don't do nothing for us. But you sit up here and tell us that we need to get on board to back these immigrants who don't give a damn about foundation black Americans. They're with the white supremacy, who knowing that when they get here, they do all kinds of atrocities to our community, like bringing prostitution, bringing drugs, bringing crime, and bringing everything to our communities. And we need to say, no, this is enough. We not need to stop saying that it's enough. We need to say, no, this is enough for you to bring this crap over into our country and stop backing these people. And for our people saying, oh, they are our brothers. They are our brothers from the sin of whatever. No, they are not our brothers. We are the foundation of black Americans. We are the lost tribe. And we need to stand back and fight against these things that are coming against us. And every day I see these sisters out here and these brothers walking around with their pants hanging off their behind, sisters twerking on their behind, and not getting involved with what's doing to them every day. But I'm sorry that I'm very passionate. I'm sorry.
Well, definitely it's an important thing for folks to remember, because right now, discipline is very, very important. One of the reasons why I'm talking about this prostitution part of it here is because you've got a wayward group out there and whatnot that is so concerned with interracial sexual access. And we have to call it for what it is. In New York City, Eric Adams thinks he can get away with this because they showed you on these flyers and whatnot. Yeah, there's Asian women on the streets, but this is like a Latina female that they got on those flyers. So the real thing is, for a lot of these fellas out here, it's like, hey, well, you know, we bring in as many non-black females and Dominicans and white women from other places as we possibly can. And we have to understand that without us having this conversation, our conversation is about what being on code is and what the ramifications of not being on code is. And this is a conversation that hasn't really been taking place before. See, this doesn't happen on the Breakfast Club. I remember Charlamagne brought G Unit up there and they all sitting up there bragging about having Latina baby mamas. And I'm like, this ain't no mess to be bragging about. This is some garbage to be ashamed about. So just understand, having this conversation is very important. Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight, because there's a whole bunch of folks out here. We're fighting for black empowerment, and they're fighting for sexual empowerment. Eric Adams is not stupid. We're fighting for black empowerment, and they're fighting for sexual slumming. Because just like white supremacy says, what good is money if we don't have power? You got a bunch of folks out there in black society who are like, well, what good is empowerment if I can't have interracial sexual access? So I'd rather have that and be poor than to have empowerment and be stuck around other black folk. And that's literally really where their heads are at. Caller from area code 843, you're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yes, this is Stefan from Somerville, South Carolina. How you doing, Jason?
All right, Stefan, what's on your mind?
Well, I was listening to your broadcast, first-time caller, long-time listener. And when it comes down to Kamala Harris and Barack Obama was pretty much the blueprint for what we're starting to see now. You know, his mom was Irish American and his dad was Kenyan. And he was able to infiltrate Black American culture And when you would listen to his stump speeches, he would come off, as the cousin of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He had a very Southern Atlantean dialect. And, he didn't do anything for black people. Then you have Kamala Harris. And so now they've used up the commerce to some degree of black Americans. And now you have the Indian Americans, in specific, Vivek Ramaswamy, who's coming in and, he's using the throats of black people to step on in order to appease white people. And to go to what your topic of tonight is, with the immigrants coming over here, it comes off like, well, people who voted for Eric Adams as if, well, this is what they voted for, and they didn't. They voted for someone who they thought would represent their issues. And instead, they got another Barack Obama, a black in name only, who just pretty much got into office. And I can't say that he was too stupid, but, he probably thought he could figure his way out of it, and he didn't. And
well, what he wasn't
he's
counting on was that the
realizing-
national conversation was going to change. You got to remember, they had all their eggs in one basket. That there was always going to be that BET, Essence, Ebony, Jamila Lemieux, Roland Martin, TV One. That was where black people were going to go to get their news and information, and most importantly, their analysis and insight. They had no idea that there could be a competent media class that would be self-built and would just stay at this as a holy crusade across decades. They had no idea that was going to occur. They're like, well, no, you got to be well-funded, and these are going to build. Because in their world, they wouldn't do this if they weren't getting well paid for it. So they're like, well, nobody will do it if they don't do that.
Right.
They found out, there's a group of true believers who are actually competent enough to get this done. And what they found out is that we're not the incompetent operative class. They are. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get caller Mary Code 323. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good evening, Big Brother Jason. This is Brother Elijah calling out of Brooklyn, New York.
All right, Brother Elijah out of Brooklyn. What's on your mind?
Big Brother, after listening to tonight's broadcast, and it's similar to some other broadcasts that you have put out in the past, it makes me want to sum up everything in one question. President Joe Biden, this is my question to you, Big Brother. President Joe Biden, if he gets elected one more term as president, do you see that as the end of Black America? That's my question, Big Brother.
No, not at all.
Okay, brother.
No, that would not. No, the end of Black America is what black people do, not what Joe Biden does. So if Joe Biden remains there because black folk are doing something we shouldn't be doing, the problem is what we're doing something we're not supposed to be doing. And that's something you do every day, not just something that you do on election day. So election night is it's like a prize fighter. You didn't lose the fight the night of the fight. You lost the fight in training. The night of the fight's just the night you got knocked out. But if you didn't do what you were supposed to be doing for the previous 3, 4, 6 months, it's just going to show itself when you get to the fight. Well, if you ain't doing what you're supposed to be doing for the previous 12, 18, 24 months, it's just going to show itself. So it's never one-dimensional. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get caller Mary Code 701. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, this is Ray calling from Fargo, North Dakota.
Ray from Fargo. What's on your mind?
So I'm calling tonight because I had a question. So up here in North Dakota, of course, North Dakota, Minnesota, we're, of course, getting lots of immigrants. There were some guys that were sentenced just last week. They had tried to bring some people in from Canada, and they got stuck in the snow, and basically they just got sentenced last week. So one thing that I'm finding that's conflicting, and I just wanted to see if you could just kind of give me an idea of what you think this is. So 1 minute you have the governor saying that this is an anti-sanctuary state, anti-sanctuary state. But then at the same time, you have them passing bills to basically bring more immigrants in to so-called
Okay, now let me find out here which state are you referring to when you say that?
Excuse me?
Which state are you referring to when you say that they say it's an sanctuary state? Which state?
Sanctuary, in North Dakota.
Okay, so you're saying North Dakota. All right.
Yes, so they're saying it's an anti-sanctuary state, but at the same time, they're also saying that they're bringing people in to help with the workforce shortage. So with it being an anti-sanctuary state and then saying that they're bringing immigrants in, I just feel like it's like, I don't know if they're trying to like confuse
Yes,
the
ma'am. Yes,
constituents to try to.
yes. That is exactly the point. But you have a Republican governor up there, what's named Burnham, and you got just understand. I mean, look, this is what Malcolm X has been saying. Malcolm X said this decades ago. This is not new. He said you got the Republicans who are, the Democrats pretend to be for you and they're against you. The Republicans are supposed to be against you and they're against you. But the reality is they're both against you. What happens behind these closed doors with these political parties, they talk one way in front of the microphones, they get behind closed doors, and then they get together, okay, how are we going to defeat the people? That's what the strategy is, because they already know what they're doing. They belong to their donor class, which is a white class. They belong to their corporate class, which is a white class. So just understand that the whole idea is that the Republicans in front of the cameras talk one way. But then you see these other things happen. So case in point, like I played the video there in Florida, you got these white men who own the farms everywhere across America. Florida, Georgia, the Carolinas, Kentucky, Oklahoma, Kansas. These are white men who own these farms. And yet, then you take a look at, well, I'll be damned, take a look what's out there in their fields. So if these are white men and they're practicing white supremacy, you got to understand that the illegals are a component of practicing white supremacy. The whole thing, though, is that they're going to pull a bullhorn. We are not a sanctuary state. And then when they bring in these other folk and they say, oh, well, they're not getting sanctuary here. You see, there's a legitimate purpose for it. So that's the way it works. That's the way it's always worked. Both of the political parties are both part of it. Some of the members of it to a greater or lesser degree, but they're all a part of it. And the reason that you know that it is because you and I both remember when America instituted this so-called war on drugs, the prison industrial complex locked up every nigga they could. If that was the way, and then you have the ongoing practice of asset forfeiture, where they grab your assets when you're arrested, not convicted, when you are arrested. So when you're black, they come and grab the house and the cars and any money or whatever. So you wind up having to fight a damn court case with no money is what winds up happening. And so next thing you know, you wind up going to jail for football numbers. You got all these white men everywhere. I'm talking about, you ain't never seen a crack house run as openly as these fields and these brothels that they got going on around the country. You've never seen anything like that before. Everybody in their mama job, like, I'll be damned. There's about 100 illegals out there. Why is it that nobody's doing a raid? Nobody is doing a roundup. Nobody's doing that. Why are we not using the RICO laws? We have RICO laws. They cut their teeth on the Italian mafia, and now the only RICO prosecutions you see are against rappers and black folk.
That's it.
So why is it there are no RICO statutes or RICO indictments against these white folk who are bringing in all this illegal labor like that? Oh, because it's all part of the plan. And you either have the politicians who say it, or you have the ones who tell you, oh, we're against that, wink, wink. And then don't follow what they say, follow what they're doing. It's like, hey, you're doing the opposite of what you say. Well, there's a perfectly good explanation. And you never get an explanation.
Yep, and then they had this farm that's like a big dairy farm, and they have all these people that work for the farm that are like Filipinos, and they just had to like haul off like 15 of them because like they had a whole bunch of them living in a trailer, and like they were getting drunk. Like 3 of them like walked into somebody's house like way out in the country. They walked into someone's house like that. They went through, basically sent all of them away because they were so drunken and so like fighting and doing all kinds of stuff. And then next thing you know, they had a whole nother crew of them right out there working. And then like, it's just, I don't know, like I know of different people that have, you know, like come on hard times, needing resources. And I work with different people to like try to help them or try to point them toward resources because there aren't very many, you know, foundationals up here. And then when you do try to help people, these organizations and things like that, they're saying that they don't have resources available to them. But then you can go, like in Fargo, there's different places. They even have
No,
buildings
it's the same
set up,
thing
like,
that we said
already
here
for
before.
Ukrainians,
When
for
you
Somalians.
show up, there's no resources. If you show up, we ain't got no money. If you show up, we can't do anything. These other folk, all of a sudden, they got resources bursting out of their unlimited resources bursting out of their ears. So what black folk are learning now is that everyone is colluding to lie to us. Everyone.
That's
the
right.
government, nonprofit, private sector, the media, they are all on code and they are all in collusion with each other against us. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. That's what we're learning. They are all on code against us. They're all colluding against us. They're all working against us. They've all gotten together and put their heads together against us. It's not just the Democrats. It's not just the Republicans. It's everybody everywhere. You damn right. Reparations across the board. You damn right, because you are aligned against us across the board. Cut the check. Reparations across the board. You found unlimited funds. You talk about there's a housing shortage in New York. As soon as the illegals showed up, oh, wait a minute now, all of a sudden, we can turn anything into a home, anything into housing. Well, how the hell can that be? And black folk in New York sleeping on the damn streets. If New York were doing this for the black population of homeless people, there wouldn't have been a black homeless population. $300 million a year just from the city of New York overnight, while they were telling you and me wasn't no money for that. And it ain't 100,000 folk they would have had to help. So when you see something like this, all these decades, ooh, we ain't got no money for that right there. We can't help the black homeless now. I mean, we doing the best we can. And next thing you know, overnight, we can turn anything into a shelter. We got the state behind us now. We got unlimited. We can turn anything into, take a look at that high-rise hospital you used to be able to, we can turn that into a shelter. Sure, no problem. Out there in Queens, we can make another one. Out there in the Bronx, we can make another one. All of a sudden, unlimited funds. Where they told you they couldn't do anything for your black homeless. Now for the illegal aliens, it's unlimited resources. Unlimited resources. Folks, what that tells us is don't let nobody lie to us anymore. No more lying to us. Let me get caller from area code 804. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Ben, Midlothian, Virginia.
All right, Ben, Midlothian. What's on your mind?
Yes, sir. Unencumbered criminal activity is a tremendous economic advantage, and I'm just upset with the fact that they're allowing this sort of thing to go on. They're going to skirt over it as if nothing has happened. Meanwhile, black people got caught in the PPP loan trap that seems to be quietly hitting black people everywhere we go. They granted loans that the government knew that they did not have the money for, nor did they have the business for. I dare say I didn't see a legitimate black business person get a PPP loan. Meanwhile, individuals that were desperate in the first place, looking for something to do in the second place, and had meager resources in the third place, signed up for this trap and unfortunately fell in the chasm of it. So, the sort of things that they're playing with us are definitely economic.
They know what they're doing. It's
yes.
strategic. This is strategic. It's economic. It's social. None of this happens by accident. We get steered off into one direction and it turns out to be a damn landfill. These other folks are being taken in a whole different other direction. And as I've always said, they're being propped up. I've said this for years now. They're coming over here. They're giving them welfare. They're giving them schooling for the children. They're basically setting them up from day one with a middle class life, while they spent the last 300 years depriving us of any resources whatsoever. It's never accidental. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. I got a number of folk here on the line tonight. I'm going to try to get through a few more people here if I can. Folks, go ahead and keep your comments short for me, or I'm going to help you keep them short for us here. I want to try to get to a few more folks here before we wrap up tonight's program. Let me get caller from area code 901. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, I'm Rose, calling from Memphis, Tennessee.
Okay, Rose from Memphis. What's on your mind?
Well, I'm calling. I'm a kind of a new listener, but just a lot of things. I'm not sure if you heard, but okay. So the DOJ has just opened up an investigation into the Memphis Police Department.
Yes, we talked about that last. We talked about that last night.
But,
so she is definitely new. We talked about that last night.
Oh, did you? Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't know. It's just things I've been noticing. I mentioned to my sister, but letting her know that they're finna get ready and put a black face on it, which so many things are going on here in
they're not gonna put any face on
people.
it. They're not gonna put any face on it. The whole point of the Department of Justice showing up down there is to wag their finger and talk about, ooh, the police department's got problems. That's not how you fix police departments. How you fix police departments is like when they went after Frank Lucas. They went after Frank Lucas, and then they started arresting cops all over the place. That is not what the Department of Justice is discussing doing. Not at all. They're just saying, ooh, your patterns and practices. But patterns and practices is a statement specifically designed to avoid prosecution, not to facilitate it. So what they're going to tell you is like when AT&T commits a crime, they don't go arrest the damn CEO. They tell you they go find the company. Okay, if AT&T is committing a crime, isn't that the CEO? Why are you not putting cuffs on him? Because you see, when they come to black folk with RICO, you don't get to say, ooh, well, the record label committed a crime. It's like, no, shouldn't I get your ass in the cell? That's what happens with us. So just understand, it's not accidental. This whole thing is meant for the purposes of being able to come back next year. And this is the trick bag I was talking about. Next year, what's going to happen is you're going to have the old black media and the rest of their bootlit class sit up here and tell you, yeah, we all need to vote for Biden because, well, Juneteenth, Emmett Till statue, Ketanji Brown Jackson. That's what they're trying to line up, being able to say something, because right now they don't have anything. And then next you'll see them add to the list, ooh, we is doing something about police. Why, we is opening an investigation into the Memphis Police Department. White folk and gays and Asians don't get investigations, they get indictments. Hell, if you even say something to an Asian person in New York that an Asian person is offended by, that's a hate crime and they arrest you. We showed you they arrested a couple of black folk for that. So we're not getting the same thing as the rest of them. So it's meant to be trick bag language to defend them in next year's election. Thank you very much for giving us a call. Let me get caller code 442. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Latif. I'm calling from Victorville, California.
All right, T from Victorville. What's on your mind?
Yeah, man. I'm out here in California, and we are overrun with these immigrants. And when they come, they bring that anti-black racism. They talk bad about us. They don't want us in their stores. They don't want us in their so-called neighborhoods that our grandfathers and grandmothers built and grew up in. And the first thing they want to do is run us out. They come with more gangs. They come with more violence. They come with everything. And everything is them wagging their finger that black people need to appreciate being in America, because look what they built and look what they came over here and done.
Which is all lies in the first damn place, because if you're really that industrious, you would be building where you are. You wouldn't have to run somewhere else. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get caller from area code 917. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Okay, caller from 917 is doing dope. Caller from area code 202. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, my name is Yusuf. I'm calling from D.C.
Yusuf from D.C. What's on your mind?
I was currently doing some research on trying to trace this issue dealing with the immigrants. And I ran across a UN 1949 Commission on Human Rights. that was dealing with, it was a subcommission on prevention of discrimination and protection of minorities. And it stated in this study in 1949 that the people that actually come to an indigenous land with indigenous people or the native people of that land, and they actually come in to, on they tail enter and try to connect with them or hatch their actual identity with those particular native people of that land, they came up with a term called artificial minorities. And similar to what I think the brother Tariq Nasheed came up with a beautiful term which solidified and defined who we are as Black Americans, which is foundational Black Americans. These other people are artificial minorities. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get caller area code 973. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hello, this is Jelani from Strasburg, PA.
Okay. If you are on a speakerphone or something, we cannot hear what you're saying.
Hold on a second. Hold on. Let's see if I can fix that. Can you hear me now?
Okay. What is your name? Where are you
Can you hear me
calling
now?
from?
Okay. This is Jelani from Strasburg, PA.
Okay. Jelani, what's on your mind?
Hey, in regards to the immigration situation, yeah, Black people are pretty much getting screwed over immigration. But then we voted for it going back to civil rights generation, and especially in Chicago, $51 million later, and now I guess Black folks are finally seeing that we don't have any allies, or we definitely don't have any friends, and they've just been creating these buffer classes for years. And they were doing that under Reagan, so everyone said, oh, he's not racist, he brings immigrants in. But it's the same plan that's been going on for decades. Let's weaken the electoral power of Black people.
Well, it goes back
bringing
before
buffer classes
Reagan.
in.
It goes back before that, because right after they passed the Civil Rights Acts, allegedly for Black folk here, they started passing immigration acts right after that. So as soon as they did, when you used to have the Emancipation Proclamation and everything else, what's the first thing they do? They started bringing over as many Asians as they could. They started bringing over as many Irish and Italians who at the time were not considered to be fully white. So every time that it looks like they're going to do something with us, they make sure they put a poison pill in there that neutralizes what they appeared to do. Thank you very much for giving us a call. That brother's calling us from the damn bus station. Let me get caller from area code 470. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Yes, hi. My name is Tanisha. I'm calling from Atlanta, Georgia. How you doing?
Okay, Tisha from Atlanta. What's on your mind?
I'm calling because one of the things that I wanted to address was the issue that my husband has recently been seeing here in the Atlanta, Georgia area, which is he's a union iron worker. He has been for over 23 years. And up until recently, there was a nice mix of people working in the construction field. All of a sudden, we have this huge influx of migrants that are working alongside him, and none of them can speak English. And it is so dangerous.
Not true.
And so many accidents are just waiting to happen. And the other issue that he has noticed, and we're talking about in the last 3 to 4 months, really just an influx, is that the child labor laws have to be being ignored, because he says that there's a lot of young women, and he said they look 12, 13, 14, 15 years old. They should be in school. They're working on these construction sites, and he builds skyscrapers. So right now he's on the 29th floor.
Just remember, it's not a law if you can't enforce it there. It's only a law if it's being enforced. It is not a law if it's not enforced. Prostitution is not legal in New York State, nor is it legal in New York City. You have the district attorneys who are supposed to be the law enforcers saying we're not going to enforce it. No one voted for that. So therefore, in an instant, you're getting a crash course in what we've been saying for the longest. It's only a law if you have the power to enforce it. or the ability to enforce it, or in this case, the will to enforce it. So right now, no, when you say, wow, what happened to child labor laws? It's not a law if it's not being enforced. So you've just watched it get vetoed and invalidated in real time right in front of you. No vote required, no legislature involved. Oh yeah. And by the way,
exactly.
if you all the time they show up all over Atlanta, the way they're harassing the damn black businesses to the point that they have to show up at the damn city council because they want to use nuisance abatement on every black business. And meanwhile, your husband's sitting there saying, hey, they got damn me, little Abner working over here. Macaulay Culkin is working over here with me on this construction site. Yeah, they see that too, but just understand that we enforce the laws on you all, but white people get a pass. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get caller from area code 928. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
This is Bruce from Arizona.
Okay, Bruce, from where at in Arizona?
I'm in Parker.
Okay, Bruce from Parker, Arizona. What's on your mind?
Didn't Miss Harris go to those countries? And what did she do? I think she must have organized the travel to this country.
It certainly does look like that. She's the immigration czar, and we see what the hell's happened. As immigration czar, you got more of them coming up here than you ever did. So very clearly that was the goal. Just remember, she's not one of us. She's one of these wolves in sheep's clothing. She's one of these Trojan horses. She's not one of us. The last thing in the world she wants to see is a viable, powerful black population in America.
Yeah, she I'll never forget. She said she wasn't going to do anything for black people, and I'll take that to my grave.
Most of us should. Thank you very much for giving us a call. Let me get caller from area code 419. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Yeah, this is Vaughn from Toledo. Hey, Dr. Claude Anderson warned us about this. He said it was coming, now it's here. If you want to see what the future of black folks in certain parts of the country, look at L.A. The black population has been made into a fourth-class citizens. They can barely get any jobs out there, and they make up most of the homeless. That's come to New York. Don't forget that New York voted to give immigrants the right to vote in their city. So now they got the influx. In about 5 years, that mayor will be bilingual, if not outright Spanish. So we got betrayed by the Democratic Party. We got betrayed by the Black Boule, and
well, I don't know if we can call it betrayal if they were never on your side to begin with. So, thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. I don't think you can properly consider it betrayal if they were never on your side to begin with. The problem for them is we're becoming a more sophisticated class of voters and thinkers. But that's going to be something that we're all going to have to uphold going forward here. I showed you all this here tonight to let you know that, by the way, this program is running in the background. This program of flooding the zone with buffer classes is running in the background, and it's not going anywhere. Then what are we doing about it? We are talking to each other to make sure we are all on code. And they are noticing because we're not supporting that. Getting us to get along and support these things is getting a whole lot harder as time goes on. And it will continue to do so, which is why you got them flooding the zone now. They're like, oh, hell, we're losing the black support for it. Flood the damn zone because we may be looking at the gates closing forever now. Flood the zone with as many as we can before it's all over. See if we can work what we got. We're going to go ahead and wrap things up here on tonight's program. If you are new here to the Black Channel, welcome to the Haven of Intelligent Black Thought. We do this every weekend. Click that red subscribe button. Click that yellow notification bell. Join us each and every time that we're here. If you haven't been to our website, blackchannelfilms.com, you want to go and check out our groundbreaking best-selling documentary work, 7 a.m. Gentrified Race War, all available on DVD and streaming. Go to blackchannelfilms.com. That is blackchannelfilms.com. I want to thank everyone who has contributed to support tonight's program on PayPal, CashApp, Super Chat, Venmo, Rhonda. To everyone else here, thank you very much for your support. Thank you all for liking, subscribing, and sharing. And this concludes tonight's broadcast of The Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. And until next time, my brothers and my sisters from around the world, remember, black is the future and the future is uncompromising.